Let's kick off with the 2022 Mars blackout. NASA cited a solar interference period for lost communications, but third-party satellites picked up encrypted video feeds at the same time. Why do these gaps coincide with independent anomalies?
It's a pattern too precise to ignore. Solar interference is expected, but encrypted human movement on the surface, especially in shadowed regions, raises red flags. Think of it like a magician's misdirection. While we're looking at the left hand, the trick happens elsewhere.
That's a compelling analogy. Most official channels dismiss the footage as glitches, but the Romanian engineer who intercepted the feed described homemade EVA suits nothing in line with NASA's equipment. Could this suggest unauthorized activity?
Absolutely. The makeshift appearance implies either a covert program or individuals improvising in isolation. Historically, off-the-books operations use non-standard gear to avoid detection, much like Cold War black sites operating outside official supply chains.
After the sighting, static resolved into Morse code spelling exit. Why would someone risk broadcasting such an explicit message, and what are the implications if it was intentional?
The choice of Morse suggests urgency and subterfuge. It's low bandwidth, hard to trace, and universally recognized. If we treat exit as a distress signal, it evokes Cold War spy tactic, simple, deniable, but loaded with meaning.
And yet, the message was brief, just one word. In psychological operations, brevity often signals desperation or a directive. Could this be a coded plea for extraction, or a warning to others monitoring the frequency?
I lean toward warning. In intelligence circles, single-word codes often mean abort or condition critical. If Mars hosts unauthorized personnel, this could be a trigger for emergency protocols either for those on Mars or their handlers on Earth.
Let's rewind to 2004 and the NSA linguist Harold Dean, who monitored recurring lullaby-like signals from Mars. Why would a reverse lullaby repeat on covert frequencies, and what could it signify?
Music, especially lullabies, is used in psychological conditioning and encrypted communication. Reversing it could encode data, mask intent, or even serve as an activation phrase for sleeper agents. It's reminiscent of number stations, seemingly innocent but deeply coded.
Dean's disappearance in 2006 after warning, "We didn't send the first message, we answered it," adds a chilling dimension. Are we seeing evidence of two-way communication, possibly with non-Earth intelligence or rogue Earth factions?
The ambiguity is deliberate. Answering an unknown signal is risky, akin to responding to a phishing email on a cosmic scale. It opens a channel, and you can't predict who's on the other end or what their intentions may be.
Let's address the most provocative claim, that Mars isn't just for astronauts, but also for prisoners. How plausible is the theory that black site detainees are being exiled off-world?
Logistically, it's extreme, but history is full of precedent. Think Australia as a penal colony. The legal gray zone of space, coupled with abandoned terrestrial sites used for astronaut training, forms a compelling circumstantial case.
Some whistleblowers point to remote deserts and decommissioned military zones as Mars analogs places to acclimate detainees before launch. If true, what would be the strategic advantage of such a program? Military installations and deserts?
Environmental similarity is the official explanation, but clandestine training is plausible. The isolation of these sites prevents leaks, and many have histories of classified projects. Area 51 is just the tip of the iceberg.
If we assume these are prep zones for off-world exile, what kind of psychological conditioning would detainees undergo?
Extreme isolation, sensory deprivation, and survival training. A 2019 ESA study showed astronauts in Antarctic simulations exhibited symptoms akin to solitary confinement, ideal for breaking resistance before Mars transfer.
With multiple actors involved, NASA, private space firms, possibly non-human entities, who really controls the Mars story?
Control is layered. NASA fronts public relations while private contractors handle logistics and tech. But classified oversight often falls to defense agencies or unacknowledged special access programs. The possibility of an external, non-human influence can't be ruled out.
In that vein, what evidence supports the idea of a narrative older than modern space agencies?
Ancient texts reference red planets as places of exile or trial. Coupled with recurring myths of sky gods and off-world journeys, it's plausible that what we call exploration is actually a continuation of a very old story.
Returning to the 2022 blackout, let's discuss the freelance engineer's hacked footage. If the video truly showed unauthorized humans on Mars, why suppress it rather than spin it as a discovery?
Admitting to unauthorized presence would unravel decades of mission protocols and public trust. Suppression is damage control. In intelligence, it's called containment preventing cascade failure by limiting knowledge to need-to-know circles.
Yet, independent leaks risk exposure anyway. What deterrence exists to prevent whistleblowing in such high-stakes environments?
Non-disclosure is enforced by legal, economic, and sometimes extra-legal means. The fate of Harold Dean is instructive. Disappearances and sealed records send a clear message about crossing invisible lines.
Let's widen the lens. Are these Mars programs true preparation for migration, or are they more about managing populations and narratives?
Migration is the official story, but manipulation is the subtext. By controlling who gets to go and who must Gogansees exert social engineering on a cosmic scale. Think less Star Trek and more Brave New World in space.
If Mars serves as both a beacon of hope and a tool of control, how can the public discern fact from fabrication?
Transparency and independent verification are key, but both are scarce in space affairs. Until whistleblowers and open data prevail, we're left decoding signals and the silences between them.
Let's close with the Nevada case. The unsolved murder of a NASA contractor, flagged by AI, remains shrouded. Is this a one-off anomaly or the tip of a systemic pattern?
Given the sealed files and swift algorithm retirement, it resembles systemic obfuscation. A 2022 Columbia Law Review found that 68% of government-related deaths in classified contexts remain unsolved or unprosecuted.
That's a staggering statistic. So, what does the convergence of missing data, blackouts, and unsolved crimes tell us about